Today, we are going to be talking about Etsy's new 3D printing policy and hopefully give you a little bit of clarity. This video shouldn't be long. We're going to move through the information and I'm going to link their full article down in the description below. So a couple days ago, Etsy came out with an updated creativity standard for their platform. And their creativity standard is essentially how they specify what products are allowed to be sold on their platform. And as of a couple days ago, they put some new policies in for 3D printed things. Now, if we're honest, 3D printed items have become so saturated. They're so common and they're so easy to find. And in a lot of ways, a lot of the 3D printed stuff is just garbage. It's just bad. The articulating dragons, the axolotls, like all these little articulating fidgets and toys that have kind of destroyed the market are everywhere. And it would make sense for Etsy to crack down on those types of products. We've seen markets crack down on those types of products for years now, and in-person markets are becoming a lot more strict with what you're allowed to sell. And this seems to be what Etsy is trying to do on their platform as well. However, I do not see in any way how Etsy plans on enforcing this. In fact, it seems pretty impossible to enforce. But before we get into the specifics and my opinion on it, let's just look at the TLDR version of their creativity standard. So Etsy items must show human creativity in at least one of the four ways. Okay, so this is what they're doing. Number one is made by the seller, handcrafted, hand altered, hand assembled, or made with a personal / computer tool like a laser 3D printer, following original seller designs. And that's very important right there, following the original seller's design. Number two, it has to be designed by the seller. Original digital designs or physical products produced by production partners are not allowed. If it uses AI, then you have to disclose that you're using AI. They haven't banned AI, you just have to disclose that you're using AI. Reselling others' work doesn't qualify. And this is the biggest piece right there. So for the people that license the commercial rights from a designer like myself to sell on a platform like Etsy now do not qualify. The third piece, this doesn't really affect 3D printers, but it has to be hand-picked by a seller or sourced by a seller. Those are the two other things. So it has to be made by the seller, designed by a seller, hand-picked by a seller, or sourced by a seller. This is as of June 10th. Now, this is, in their words, they're trying to say that this is to help Etsy's brand as a curated marketplace for unique and creative human-driven goods. And I think that is a load of malarkey. Okay, I think that is just a way for them to say, hey, we're getting 3D printed stuff off our platform. The reason I think that is because Etsy is saturated. It is filled to the brim with horrible, ugly, terrible kind of drop shipped goods. And if they're trying to get drop shipped goods that are saturating the market to be handcrafted and created items, then I would assume that they would go after the drop shipped t-shirts, hoodies, hats, all that garbage that's out there first, before they came after people's handcrafted goods utilizing a 3D printer. So I don't think that this is to help create a curated marketplace for unique, creative, and human-driven goods. I genuinely believe this is them just cracking down on 3D printing. Now, with that being said, there is absolutely no way that they can enforce this. This is going to be arguably one of the most difficult things for them to enforce. Etsy may remove listings that don't comply, but sellers are going to still be liable for their 20-cent listing fee. And then all of the listings obviously have to feature a real photo or video of the actual product. That hasn't changed. That's been there for a while now. Etsy is going to have a difficult time enforcing this. And even their own representatives seem a little confused about this, because we reached out and asked them, I think it was 5 or 6 times, if I license and have the original creators, thumbs up to sell their product, will my listing get taken down? And we had a 50% success rate. Yes, it will get taken down, and no, as long as you have the commercial rights to sell it, it won't get taken down. So Etsy still seems a little confused about their own policy, and I don't see them being able to actually enforce this policy, but we always want to be above reproach. We want to follow practices as best as we can. We don't want to, make ourselves liable or our business liable. And so I'm not encouraging you to break the rules. I'm just saying that it is going to be incredibly difficult for Etsy to enforce a rule like this one. I don't think Etsy is the best place for you to sell your 3D printed goods anyways. If you are just now starting, especially if you're just now starting, Etsy is really difficult to get started on. It's a slow burn. I've been on Etsy for just about 5 years, and I just hit over, let me just double check really quick. I just hit 1,000 sales. It was 1,100. Just hit 1,100 sales in 5 years. And I would be lucky if I make 2 or 3 sales a week. Now, all of my listings are optimized. My page looks incredible. I'm a star seller. I would say that my Etsy page has the best chance of success for making sales on the platform. And yet it is still chugging along. And it's not my main source of income when it comes to 3D printed goods, especially my HueForge designs. The best place by far for you to sell your 3D printed goods, especially HueForge, is through live markets. That's Facebook live markets, Instagram live markets, and things like that. Those are going to be by far your best chance. I have been selling on live markets for just over a year now, and I have made well over $10,000 selling on those live markets. Etsy over the past year, I'm probably at just about $1,500 over the past year. Etsy nickels and dimes you every place you get. If you sell on live markets like Facebook Live or Instagram, you control your own listings. You invoice the user once they claim the item. You take 100% of that sale, and then you need to pay your sales tax and things like that to the government. Make sure you do that. But that's the way that I've been selling, and that is how I would recommend you guys start selling. That marketplace is just not saturated. There's a lot of room for growth, and if you get in early, I have a good feeling that you are going to make quite a name for yourself in those spaces and start cornering the market in your favor. So those are my recommendations. I would not be too scared about Etsy's new policies. I wouldn't make any drastic changes unless you are really wanting to fall in line with what Etsy is asking. It seems like their representatives are still a little confused over what this policy actually is, and it doesn't seem like this is going to be something that Etsy will be able to consistently enforce across the board. I think this is just one of those big umbrella statements that they can put in the back of their privacy policy or their terms of service, so that if there were to be a complaint, or if there was something that were to happen, Etsy can look back and say, actually, no, we have this policy and you're in violation of it. I don't think they're going to attack creators with it. I think they will use it to defend themselves in case there's a complaint, a lawsuit, something like that. If you found this video helpful, if you want more Etsy advice, more tips, more tricks, all that kind of stuff, if you want more information about what it looks like to sell on Facebook Live or Instagram Live, leave a comment down below. We're just getting back into this YouTube grind, and I have so much stuff that I would love to share with you, but I want to know what you guys want to know, because that will help me create the videos that are going to be most beneficial for you. Guys, thank you so much for tuning into this video. If you found it helpful, leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe, do all the things to help the algorithm out, and I will catch y'all in the next one. Until next time, guys, take care, and God bless.